Okay, just waiting for the confirmation from YouTube that we're live. Looks like we are. Excellent connection, it says. Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm just going to make sure I've got my textbook right underneath the camera here, and then we'll get started. All right. Okay. So we're going to be covering basically two different kinds of dimensioning here throughout this course. So one is what we'd call mechanical drafting, which is used in fabrication. And the other one that we use is architectural dimensioning, which has a slightly different style and some different conventions, like some different rules that govern how it is done. So right now we're going to be looking at the mechanical dimensioning of things. And I'm going to sort of scribble out here on paper just beside the textbook what these conventions are and how you can approach putting in these dimensions in as we begin to add them now to the projects that we're going to work on. Now, for all of your numbers and text, we're still going to use the architectural style of numbering. So let me just move this over here, get it on the camera. So when we have an object that we are dimensioning, we have a few different components. We have what's called the witness line, which is the line that emanates from the edge of the object that we are dimensioning. And that witness line projects outwards from the object by about minimum, 15, 20 millimeters. Sometimes it can be shorter if there's not much room, or if there's another drawing that's right above it and we're trying to pack all these dimensions in. But typically we want to give anywhere from 15 to 20 millimeters of white space between the object that we are dimensioning and the dimension. So we have the witness line that emanates from the corners, and then we have the dimension line. Now the dimension line should be parallel to the object. I didn't quite get that nailed there. And it's a lighter line weight. So if you're doing mechanical drafting, your object lines tend to be a medium line weight, and then your dimensioning tends to be a light line weight. So you got your witness lines and your dimension line. So at the end of the dimension lines for mechanical drafting, it's either drawn as arrows, which can be closed or filled. And if it is going to be a closed arrow, it tends to have a shallower angle. So what I mean is they'll fill it in, but it will not be, it will not enclose as large an angle. So you can see the arrows here that are filled are quite tight. Another option that I have seen used in the past is to just use a dot, and all three of those are acceptable. So whatever this dimension is, you've got options here as well. So architecturally, they would usually put the number above the line, and in mechanical drafting, depending on the firm, they may do that as well. What's also extremely common is to have the dimension number put in line with the dimension line. So something like that. So it can either be just above the dimension line or in line with the dimension line, and both of those are acceptable. So this would be sort of mechanical modes of drafting. Now, that's when we are dimensioning horizontally. If we are dimensioning on an angle or dimensioning vertically, some other rules apply. So for dimensioning something along the angle of an object, we run the witness lines perpendicular from that object. And then our dimension line is parallel to that face. And then we can put in our arrows. Now, typically you would run your set square along the face, so whatever angle the face is at 30 or 45 or 15 or what have you. Even if it's on a random angle like you see here, this is a good example of how to use one of these adjustable. I think I was shooting to do kind of 45 degrees there, but I'm sure I didn't quite get that bang on. So here I'll just try and get this more or less parallel. So when you're drawing the original line, you might use your set square to draw that line. And then when you come back to do the dimensioning, it's just a matter of either pushing your ruler up to get that lighter line placed, or you can also move the set square from side to side, so you can draw this line and then move the set square over and draw the next line. Okay, so once that's been done, um, I would probably avoid drawing the whole line and then erasing a piece out of the middle of it to get the text in there, and then we can get that piece of text in there. So that's something that's along an angle. Now, if the angle is going in the other direction, the same rule applies. So here, there's my face of object. And now, here I'll just draw the verticals on it. So I'm just drawing object lines here. And interrupt with questions, folks, whenever you have them. It's no big deal. This YouTube stream is only for you. There's not going to be anybody else watching this thing. So same idea, witness lines perpendicular to the face, dimension line running across, put in the arrows of your choice, and then the text goes in. Now, we never want our text to be upside down, and we want our text so that if we are dimensioning vertical edges, we make the text legible as read from the right-hand side of the page. So for doing these dimensions here, again, I'll run my witness lines out, dimension line up, put in my arrows, and then put my text in either immediately above the line or in line. So here I'll just draw this one in line to be consistent with the others. So other dimension styles, again, that would be acceptable. Small filled arrow. Text above is also acceptable. So on the other side here, same concept. Witness lines, dimension lines. Put in your dimension. So read from the right, or as much as possible, read from above. Okay, it's 9:30. Let's just take a 5-minute break. Go grab yourselves a coffee, and we will come back.